Hello everybody and welcome. My name's Rob from the Rotherham Cycle Hub.
I'm Jamie from the Barnsley Active Travel Hub.
In our fourth episode here, we're going to be running you through a few safety tips based around your handlebars, your controls and the steering of your bike. A few checks to make and a few ways you can just adjust them and make sure they're safe.
Alright, so I'll quickly run you through some of the most important aspects of steering and the headset. Obviously the most important thing is you want to make sure that your steering, so your stem and bars are tight to the fork and the frame when you're riding. As we covered briefly in the M-check, you can check this by standing with the front wheel of your bike between your legs and trying to turn the handlebars. If the handlebars turn independently, it's a sign that your steering isn't tight enough and you need to tighten that up because you don't want that to happen while you're riding the bicycle. So there are two main types of steering attachment on bicycles. I've just got an example of each of you here just to quickly show you. I'm just going to show you how to tighten them if they're a little bit loose. Anything more involved or a bit more complicated and you don't feel comfortable with, you may want to take it to a bike shop or a professional instead. So on this bike here, this has an A headset style of steering. Basically, the stem is clamped to the outside of the steerer of the fork in this system. If it is tight, you just want to check that these two bolts here, they're called the pinch bolts, are adequately tight. And it's just an Allen key fitting into here just to check that they're tight. The other type of headset and steering that you may encounter is this style, which is the Quill style of steering. So in this example, the stem is clamped to the inside of the fork. You do see this one, even though it's a little bit of an older design, quite a lot. So with this style, you'll notice there are no pinch bolts, like on the one I just showed you. To check that this is tight enough, you just need to, again, it's an Allen key adjustment, insert into the wedge, into the top here, and just check that this is tight as well. It's worth noting this adjustment needs to be much tighter than that of the pinch bolts to stop the stem from moving. We also covered a look at quickly headsets within the M-check. Again, to check this with the bike on the floor, you'll want to apply the front brake and rock the front wheel from side to side. If you can feel any movement, any adjustment within putting your fingers here or on the steering column, then it's a sign that your headset may be loose and maybe need to be adjusted. It's worth noting with suspension forks, as I'm doing, you'll need to rotate the bike 90 degrees so that you're not feeling movement from the suspension fork rather than the headset itself. Again, if you notice some movement there and you feel uncomfortable about adjusting it yourself, I would definitely recommend taking it to a professional to get tightened and adjusted for you. I'm just going to pass you back on to Rob, who's going to talk about some other aspects of the controls and steering as well.
So your controls and your handlebars, they're really important. As the name suggests, your controls are where you've got control of the bike. So on here, on these handlebars, you can see we have our brakes, we have our grips, we have our gears. Everything you need to do to operate the bike safely is located around your handlebars. So it's really important that you have them in a position where you can easily access them. You want your hands to be on the handlebars at all times and so that you can use your brakes and your gears without having to take your hands off or move them about at all. Equally, you want them to be in a comfortable position. If you're having to hold on to your bike in a way that's uncomfortable or particularly tiring, your arms are going to get tired and you're not going to be fully in control of that bike. So one way you want to make sure is that everything's tight, nothing's going to move about. Things like your bell and your lights, you want them to be in a position where you can get at them easily. So with the bell here, you can nicely ring that with your left hand, it's in a good position for you. Equally with the lights, you can get there, you can turn it on and it's in a place that it will be seen by other people and that you can see it. Very important as well with your handlebars at the end, we have what are called bar end plugs. So this is the rubber bung that goes in the end of your handlebars. Sometimes these fall out, sometimes these go missing. If you do fall and you have an accident and you don't have one there, you can get quite a nasty injury by the actual handlebar kind of coring you like you'd core an apple, so it's not very pleasant. So make sure you've got your handlebar bar end plugs in there. You want to make sure as well that your stem is nicely tight onto your handlebars, so you've got two bolts here. You shouldn't have any movement there with the handlebars, they shouldn't be able to swivel up and down. If there is some movement there, You want to be able to tighten those, which you do with like an Allen key, or like say, take it to a bike shop. It's a really important part of the bike, so you want to make sure that everything on there is where it should be, where you can get at it, and it's all good and safe, and it's not going to move around or do anything that you don't want it to do. That pretty much covers all of it. Like I say, most of this stuff you can have a good look visually, make sure it's there. If anything moves or behaves in a way it shouldn't do, always take it to a bike shop and get it checked out.